The EFCC chief is facing corruption charges in front of a panel set up by the president. And one of the big questions that the case has raised is whether the EFCC's structures are not efficient enough to stop looting from inside. And that brings me to our big hard fact today. The presidential panel probing the EFCC is accusing former Acting Chairman Ibrahim Magu of not accounting for 332 confiscated properties. Now, let's be modest and say that each of those properties is worth 10 million naira. We're being modest here. We're being very modest here. That means that the value of the properties lost to the Federation is over 3.38 billion. So this clearly is not a small matter. The EFCC is set up to stop financial crime. But if it cannot stop financial crime even within its own organization, what hope does the rest of Nigeria have? So let's have that conversation today about the Magu case. But let's also look at the systemic problems that this case has exposed and how it can be fixed. Here to talk to me about it is a political analyst. He's also a security expert who is a former assistant director for the State Security Service. Dennis Amakri, good to have you on the show. Okay, so we seem to be having connection problems, but we're going to solve that problem. I think he's
can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so we're having this conversation via Zoom with Mr. Amakri, and you, of course, can watch on Facebook or YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. I also want to hear from you, Lagos. What do you think about the details of the Magu case that you've been hearing? What do you think needs to be done to strengthen the EFCC, if you like? Now, Mr. Amakri, let's start with the panel itself and the nature of Ibrahim Magu's questioning. Does it appear to you that Magu is currently under arrest?
Well, he's under arrest in the sense that he cannot go back to his house. And then he
Okay, so we're having serious connection problems with Mr. Amakri over there. So we're going to have to end that Zoom connection and perhaps get in touch with him over the phone. So what we're going to do is switch gears and call him on the phone and then continue this conversation. But Lagos, of course, you can send us your thoughts via WhatsApp. You can send us your thoughts via Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. Please don't call us because we're trying to get in touch with our guest on the show. We're in Nigeria last, and sometimes Nigerian network will not allow you to, do gang things, do Oyibo things. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so we will get in touch with him over the phone and then continue this conversation. So I found it curious. The first thing he said on the show today, was that it does appear that Magu is under arrest in the sense that, well, yes, he's not in his house. He's not going home. And because he's not going home, yes, you could say that he is under arrest. So we're going to probe that assertion some more when we get Dennis Amakri back on the line. I mean, he has been detained in a police station for several nights, Magu. So perhaps to some people that means that he is, under arrest. But Amakri may have a different opinion. Mr. Amakri, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sorry about the terrible connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were saying in the sense that he's not at home, one could say that he is under arrest, yes?
Of course he's under arrest because he was invited to the panel and then after questioning him, they won't let him go home. So that's arrest. Anytime your movement is restricted from what you really want to do, it's an arrest. So I think, yes, he's under arrest.
Okay, yes, he's under arrest. So the president set up a special panel to investigate allegations against him. I've seen some of the questions that people have posed about the legal status of such a panel. I mean, it's not a law enforcement agency empowered by law to investigate or interrogate a suspect. So if Magu is under arrest, by what power is this panel investigating him? And if well, you have said he's under arrest. So by what powers is this panel investigating him?
A panel can be set up a panel is a fact-finding body, and during the fact-finding, you don't need any law to back you up to do the fact-finding. So as long as the fact-finding is going on, they don't want him to go so that he might not interfere with the investigative process. And I think they have to keep him there until they finish what they are doing. Now, at the end of this panel, all the findings will be used in either if he's found culpable, will be sent to court and will be prosecuted. But if he's found to be innocent, then he will be let go to go back to his family.
The president has, of course, removed him from office pending the investigation, he says. Do you think Magu should have waited for the president to do it, or do you think he should have stepped aside himself?
If I was Magu, as I've said before, I will resign because with all the things that are happening and all the revelations and all the accusations, his image is in question. And when you occupy a very, very important position like that, your integrity must be number one. Immediately it is being questioned. I think the best thing for you to do, if you respect yourself, is to let go and go home, especially if you feel that you are innocent.
The reason I'm asking that is because there really isn't any coming back from this for Magu. Is there? What I mean is,
I don't think so.
Yeah, what I mean is, how can an acting EFCC chairman who is investigated for corruption, arrested by the police, interrogated by a panel, come back to the office after being cleared and still enjoy legitimacy? I mean, wouldn't he have lost the respect and confidence needed to do that job successfully?
That's what I said. He needed his integrity to be number one. In fact, if I was him, it's because Nigeria, they don't resign from jobs. They feel that it is a God-given one-time opportunity that they must stay until they die, including politicians, So even when the Senate rejected his confirmation twice, I expected him to leave because why should a group, a Senate for that matter, say that they don't want me? And then I want to be there by force. It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense, he says. Lagos, let me hear from you for a bit. Should Magu have stepped aside once the panel summoned him, or should he have waited for the president to suspend him? I'm not going to take calls because unfortunately we cannot have the guest on the phone while you are calling. We're still trying to sort out that technicality. But you can send us a WhatsApp message and you can get in touch via Facebook. We're streaming this conversation on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. And we have WhatsApp 080-959-75805. Do you think that Magu should have stepped aside once the panel summoned him, or do you think he should have waited for the president to suspend him? I can't take calls, so I'm not going to be taking any calls right now. But send us a WhatsApp message 0809-5975805, 0809-5975805. You can also get in touch via WhatsApp. WhatsApp is, that's WhatsApp, 0809-5975805. Get in touch via Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. and get in touch on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. We've got Sunday from Ojo who says, I don't even blame Magu, but the federal government. How can't they put somebody for 5 years as acting chairman, even when the House rejected him as chairman, but federal government continue to keep him as acting chairman? Kayode from Ikotun says, Magu under arrest is as a result of the fact that he needs to answer to his misdeeds. Let him answer the question of the panel. However, now that we know that things must be done in the right perspective, imagine that from the onset, DSS gave reports on Magu, hence the refusal of Saraki-led Senate refused to approve his chairmanship post for a very long time. All right, Kayode. Thank you for sending that message in. We've got another person here who says, I think the problem can be resolved if another agency can be created so that the EFCC can be used for investigation while the other agency used to remit the fund that has been recovered. That's a message from Alfred. We've got another message here from Calvin who says, you see this EFCC palaver and only God. For me, I think the EFCC should be scrapped and reshaped from the foundation. Magu's appointment in itself was shrouded in conspiracy. He was rejected twice, for God's sake. He should have stepped aside without being told to do so. The federal government failed us again. Mr. Makri, let's look at the allegations themselves. The news agency of Nigeria, the government's own news agency, has released some parts of the report. One of the major allegations is that 332 pieces of real estate confiscated by the EFCC under Magu's watch cannot be accounted for. Now, I'm trying to understand how that is possible. The EFCC confiscates these houses, sells them, and a record is kept. So either the houses are still owned by government or the EFCC can account for the money that they sold for from these houses. How can houses not be accounted for, Mr. Makri?
Which source did you quote? That,
news agency of Nigeria, the Nigerian news agency.
Oh, news agency.
Yes.
Okay, if the news agency says that they have found an allegation of how many houses now?
332.
332. That's a lot of houses. That's a village. So, if that's the case, there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong in finding it because, of course, the addresses are there and they will be documented.
They can't find the houses.
Oh, they cannot find the houses. That means the title has changed hands.
There's no money for the house, and it's not accounted for.
Cannot be found.
Yes.
Yeah, that means the houses have been sold. They cannot just disappear. Those are landed properties. They cannot disappear. So they've been sold, and then the money used somehow. Now, one of your callers just said it that another agency should have been formed to take care of recovered property, while the EFCC concentrates itself into investigation. And I agree with him perfectly because, you see, this idea of recovering money and keeping it yourself, in fact, he should have taken all the monies to central bank, and let them keep them there. But instead, he was keeping it. He was the judge. He was the detective. He is the confiscator, and he's also the custodian. There is no way he cannot pinch it. No matter how saintly it's going to be, he definitely will pinch. He will pinch some of it.
This is not the first time that we're hearing about confiscated houses not being accounted for. Last year, Attorney General Abubakar Malami accused Magu in a memo to the president of auctioning them off without informing him. Now, I've seen some argument about whether or not the EFCC needs to inform the Attorney General before selling confiscated property, as long as they remit the proceeds to the Consolidated Revenue Fund. What do you say to that?
Well, I don't think, in fact, you see, that's one of the biggest problems that Magu is facing, because he was not reporting to his supervising ministry. All the cases are supposed to be prosecuted by the Ministry of Defense, headed by the Attorney General of the Federation. So like we said, he will investigate, and after investigation, whatever findings he gets, he will hand them over to the Attorney General. But now, instead of handing over to the Attorney General, he was already executing them. He was going to court without telling the Attorney General, and sometimes he goes to court with high-profile cases and he loses it. Because some of these criminals are very rich. They can hire the best lawyers, and then it's an investigative agency, not a prosecutorial one, whereby they have lawyers who will prosecute cases. So when he goes there, he loses the cases, and sometimes he gets houses, then he sells them without accounting for it. He was like a law unto himself. And that I think compiled his problem.
If you just joined the show, we have Dennis Amakri, who is a security expert as well as a political analyst and a former assistant director of the State Security Service on the show with us. And we're talking about the kinds of reforms the EFCC needs. This is Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. I am Sandra Ezekwesili. Now, back to those 332 houses, Mr. Amakri. Like you said, they are not physically missing, right? They are still in place.
Yes, they are not.
Can these houses not be reconfiscated? Do the land registries not have the latest documentation showing the new owners? Because I'm wondering why the panel is still asking Magu to account for the houses instead of simply repossessing them, tracing the buyers, bringing them in to testify about how they became the owners.
Yeah, he knows what he has done with the houses. It's like me coming to investigate you, and then I know that you have a house, and I seize it, and then I go ahead and then sell it. Yeah, so a new owner has come up already. So he is the one to tell us where these houses are. House number 1, would you sell it to? And then we'll go to that person, recover the documents and whatever. And then, of course, he will remit the money back to the person, which I don't think he's having right now because most of his money might have been frozen. So these are very complicated issues. I don't know what they are going to do. The court will decide on whether they want to retrace those houses, because those houses are supposed to be part of the evidence of whoever or investigated and found culpable of the offense that they were accused of.
When Malam of house auctions, I went online to the Efcc website to see if they have confiscated property there, and there wasn't one. This is the main public. There was none. This is the main public-facing platform of the EFCC, where they can show us what properties are in their possession and how they are handling them or disposing of them. But they don't have anything there. Why isn't the EFCC more transparent about the assets under its control?
Because those houses were being dealt with under the table. In fact, if nobody or if this investigation didn't come up, we will not know that houses of this magnitude were even confiscated from their owners. Now we're talking of houses. We're not talking of vehicles, ships. Even ships were seized.
Yeah.
So where are all these properties, and what has it done with them? I think he has serious questions to answer.
What can we do to improve this so that things like secret auctions and under-the-table deals don't happen? How do we improve it?
To improve something like this, first of all, don't allow him to be the investigator and at the same time the prosecutor. His own job, or let me put it this way, the EFCC should be responsible only for investigations of allegations bordering on financial crimes. And of course, the EFCC should not be a debt collection agency whereby somebody is owing you 200,000 naira or 100,000 naira. You go and report to them, and then they go and harass the person and get paid. That is not it. We are talking of good money, whereby if somebody defraud the country of millions and millions of billions of naira or dollars, yes, the EFCC will come after you. And people will be scared. Right now, it has got to a level where the EFCC has lost its gusto, whereby when they say, okay, EFCC is looking for you, you know that, okay, no problem. You call your lawyer and go down there, and it will be settled. So this separation of functions have to be very, very definite. I don't know whether they want to put it under, create another agency. We keep on creating agencies in this country. Just allow the EFCC to do the investigation. I recognize all those things to be seized, and when they are seized, just put them into one kind of either government ministry of works or property or something. If it is a ship that is seized, let it go to Nigerian Shipping Agency or somewhere. So that those things will be accounted for, and then you can cross-check with the EFCC. All these things, where are they? They are here, and they can be verified. Okay, if the government now decides to say, auction them, sell them off, then it will be an open auction where everybody will say, okay, let me go and bid and see whether I can get a house or a car, or even a motorbike or something.
It is quite the thing. Lagos, let me hear from you for a bit. Remember, you can't call us just yet. I'm going to talk to you on the phone, but right now I just want to read your messages because we have technical issues that prevent us from having our guest on the line while we take your calls. So please just send us messages via WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080 959 75825. 080 959 75825. Tweet at us at Nigeria Info FM and share your thoughts on Facebook. We're streaming this conversation live. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. Again, WhatsApp is 080 959 75825. What do you think about over 300 houses going unaccounted for? What do you think about that? What do you think about the EFCC's internal processes for tracking these properties? We've got this person who said that Samuel from Ejigbo says he should have resigned before the 9th Senate since the 8th Senate refused to confirm him, but he decided to arrange pension benefits to avoid stories that touch in order for him not to be stranded since his confirmation is not guaranteed. Samuel. Alex says that Magu shouldn't have set aside if he knew he was only accused, else the whole world would have assumed that he was guilty before being investigated. Okay, but now that he's been investigated, do you think he can come back from this? We've got another message here. Sandra, please. We've discussed... I don't think you're listening to Nigeria Info, Kingsley. Check the dial that you're listening to, okay? Magu ought to have resigned, but resignation isn't in the dictionary of politicians and public office holders in this part of the world. You were talking about 2 commissioners of health the other time. These people think the offices they are occupying is their birthright. Kudos to you guys for the great job that you were doing, Steven says. All right, we're going to take a quick break, a quick commercial break. We'll come back and we'll continue this conversation. Remember, we're talking about the kinds of reforms that we expect from the EFCC. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Hard Facts. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hard Facts.
And we're back on 99.3 Nigeria. Info is 29 minutes to 6. What reforms does the EFCC need? We've got a former assistant director of the State Security Service on the show with us. He's also a security expert and political analyst, Dennis Amakri. Mr. Amakri, the Senate refused to confirm Ibrahim Magu as EFCC chairman, because according to them, they received a security report from the State Security Service saying that Magu was compromised by receiving expensive gifts, including payment of his rent from a politically exposed person. Now, you served in the SSS. Tell us how often this kind of thing happens. You know, how often does it happen that a security report of that nature is ignored by the president? Because remember, even after the Senate rejected Magu, the president sent his name to them again. And when they rejected him a second time, he just kept him on as acting chairman. How often does something like that happen?
That's a very funny and unique thing about Magu, you know, because when it's rejected the first time, they would have replaced him with somebody else, you know. And in fact, when he's even rejected the second time, the president should have removed him instead of allowing him to stay there for almost 5 years, you know. So that is very, very funny. And now, you know, the SSS wrote a report based on which he was being interrogated or, you know, questioned. Now, for that kind of report, if you read that report, the report is a very damning report where, in fact, his integrity has been called to question. And he shouldn't be allowed to, you know, hold any public office. Because, of course, when you find out that political exposed persons or people that are even being investigated are your friends, you know, it kills the integrity. Just like I said, your integrity becomes in question. So I think it's a situation where, I don't know, maybe the president is very happy with him somewhere or what he has done and kept him on. But his later behavior apparently must have shown that he's not the person that the president thought he was.
Do you believe the SSS and the Senate have been vindicated by the current probe?
Of course, definitely, because many people felt that it was just a running battle between the SSS and the EFCC, especially when he tried to go and arrest a former DG, you know, and it was stopped because that was above his pay grade. Nobody asked him to go and do things like that, you know. But anyway, he himself wants to impress the president or try to say that he knows a lot and he's a super cop. You know, now it is showing that under that facade, we have somebody that is really, really having a lot of questions to answer. Because let's give him the benefit of the doubt. It's still allegations until the panel proves him to be otherwise.
You know, because of the disagreement with the Senate over Magu's legitimacy, the EFCC did not submit its audited accounts to the National Assembly for 4 years. Some analysts have suggested that this was part of the reason why these assets could get lost, because NAS could no longer scrutinize the EFCC's books. Do you agree with this? Do you think
I agree.
Do you think this is a black mark on the president's record, that without the National Assembly he couldn't keep track of what the EFCC boss was doing, an EFCC boss that he kept in office against the wishes of NAS?
Well, I agree in the sense that, of course, he has to submit an audited account to the National Assembly every year. But that is not done. And then, of course, you know, what we are doing here, the president came into power by saying that he's going to fight corruption. And just like one son said, we are recovering looted property. We are not fighting corruption. You know, And that is very true, because if we want to fight corruption, what we're going to do is to put institutions and gaps whereby it will not be easy for a person to steal or somebody to go ahead and do those kind of things they're doing. But what we're doing is that we allow people to go ahead and steal, and that's what we are seeing right now in front of us. Even Magu himself knows that, well, if you can steal and hide it properly, nobody will know. And then if they steal it, if they find out, they take it back from you. You know, that is not what fighting corruption is all about. You know, fighting corruption is one that we will do in such a way that you will be scared. You know, I don't know if you are aware, when the Diagbon was the 2IC to the present president, when he was a head of state. At that time, the war against indiscipline was so tough that nobody, without the presence of any policeman, you will not pee on the streets. You will not. When you go to a bus station, you fall in line. You don't rush into a bus. People were being disciplined. They just don't throw garbage on the streets, you know, because those are things that the government have done to make sure that you don't play that kind of game, you know. But right now, people can do whatever they like to do because nobody is enforcing the law. People break traffic lights because they know nobody will break the law. Nobody is going to prosecute you. Nobody is going to enforce it. So it's the enforcement part that is our big problem in this country, whereby we do things the way we like because we know that nothing can happen. You know, you can do any kind of rubbish and then, okay, even if the policeman arrests you, you can grease his hand and he let you go. So people are just doing whatever they like to do in a country like this, you know, and that is not good for us.
You know, there have been some criticisms against the commission in the Magu years. Some people have said that the commission has mostly been ineffective in its prosecution of politically exposed persons, mostly scoring points in the media but losing in court. How do you assess this criticism as an observer?
Of course, that's very true, because when the head of the Efcc is a friend to one of these criminal mafias, all he has to do is to call the guy. You commit a crime and you run to your godfather, and then your godfather calls Magu, and then you are let go. You know, so if they know that the head of the place is one that can play ball, you don't have any problem, and that spoils the image of a very, very hard-working agency. You know, the EFCC is known to, at least they can try, you know. Now that their image is being rubbished all over the place, that agency is one tough agency that has done a lot for Nigerians. At least I can tell you that the EFCC is so respected that people don't, before the impunity to steal was all over the place, but now, before you steal, you think again, and then of course, you know that if you steal, they will get to you. So it has, in a way, tried to send some discipline into society. But we are still doing it wrongly, whereby they cannot be the ones that are investigating and they want to prosecute. And then, of course, they want to seize the asset and keep them.
You know, I've seen some people who have said that... so there are three schools of thought I've seen with this Magu situation. I've seen people who have said it's a legitimate investigation. I've seen those who have said it's a political witch hunt. I've seen a third group who have said it doesn't matter if it's political or not. If he's guilty, he's guilty. Where do you lean? Does it matter whether it's political or not?
Whether it is political or it is a witch hunt from the village or whatever, I think it is good that it is happening right now, you know, because we cannot. If it was, it would be a witch hunt If after investigation they discover that the guy didn't do anything, then we'll say, oh, look at it. This guy is doing a good job. They are witch hunting him, But even as the investigation is going on, we are discovering things. Things are coming out. So it is a legitimate investigation. Nobody's witch hunting him. And then, of course, he has brought this to himself because he tried to make the EFCC a political agency, whereby we have even heard the head of a political party say that, hey, cross over to our party and all the crimes you've committed is going to be forgiven. Somebody said that. I don't know. Sandra, you remember that? So if that is the case, he has made it political himself. And many people are accusing him because they feel that, oh, this guy is just investigating people in the opposition party. He's not investigating people in our own party. So it becomes a problem between the political parties. An investigator, a professional investigator, is supposed to be neutral, and is supposed to be, with an open mind. You don't care whose ox is God, but he has made it political, and of course, he has brought this upon himself.
Dennis Amakri is a former assistant director of the State Security Service. He's also a security consultant as well as a political analyst. Thank you so much for lending your time to us on the show today. Always a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Amakri.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Lagos, let's talk, huh? Let me hear from you. What do you think about what my guest has said? What about the fact that the EFCC hasn't submitted audited accounts to the National Assembly for 4 years? What do you think about that? How would you reform the EFCC to make it more transparent, to make it corruption-proof? And don't forget, I had other questions on the show as well that I asked earlier on. Do you think Magu should have stepped aside once the panel summoned him, or do you think he should have waited for the president to suspend him? I also asked what you thought about the fact that more than 300 houses are unaccounted for. What do you think about the EFC's internal processes for tracking these properties? And what do you think about what my guest has said in this interview? 0700-993-993-993. I'm going to give everybody 2 minutes so that we can take as many calls as possible and still have time to play just a minute. So everybody gets 2 minutes, 0700-993-993-993. You can also send us a WhatsApp message. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. Tweet at us at Nigeria Info FM. Let me tell you, by the way, that tomorrow at 5, we're going to have a conversation about the scandal currently rocking the NDDC tomorrow between 5 and 6. So make sure you're here for that conversation. Between 5 and 6, you and I, no guest, we're going to talk about the scandal rocking the NDDC. Before that, I'm going to be talking to 3 female lawyers about the NBA elections. I want to find out what kinds of, what's the word now, obstacles stand in the way of female lawyers in Nigeria. Great conversation coming your way tomorrow at 4. So I think you should just tune into Nigeria Info 99.3 and stay tuned until Hard Facts comes on at 3. Because we've got the big 3 coming your way first, and then Glass Ceiling, and then, of course, the big Hard Fact where we talk about the NDDC. I've got my first caller on the line. Hello, Chidi Ebere. Thanks for calling.
Oh, thanks a million.
Yes.
In synopsis, the blame should go to Mr. President after the House of Assembly had rejected Magu. He should have considered their rejection and make another option, but he neglected those rejection. So you see where everything has landed us into. That's my submission.
All right. Thank you for calling to submit it. 99.3. Hello? Hello? Okay, I'm not sure that person even realizes we picked their call. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
What's your name?
This is Okangbelina. I'm calling from Afuluku.
Welcome. Go ahead. Hello? Oh, no. What happened? What just happened? Call me back if you can. the guy from Mafuloko. But sorry about that. 99.3. Hello? Hello? Okay. Phone lines look like they've gone crazy again. Okay, let's go to WhatsApp where we have your thoughts. At least WhatsApp will not go crazy on me. We've got a comment here, Joseph, who says that the solution to corruption in this country is for... No. I disagree with you. We've got this person who says that the police should not head the EFCC. A Supreme Court judge with senior advocates, members of the bench on the board, should be the ones heading the EFCC. The police can do the investigation. And that's a message from Alex, who is in Victoria Island. Alex, thank you for sending your message in. Nigerians are disappointed with our corrupt leaders. The president shouldn't have left this man until today. Do you recall that the NFIU was shattered some days ago? Hope it's not what I'm thinking, Ike says. Let me talk to Praise in Lekki. Praise, hello. Thanks for calling.
Okay, Mr. Prince, not Praise. Prince.
Prince, oh, Mr. Prince, welcome.
Yes, you can talk about the Bejuleki something.
Oh, no. We've moved on from that.
Okay, Magu. Okay, I know the current have been following. We are on Magu's case.
Yes, we are.
Okay, on Magu, I think the government cost from the presidency, the problem is from them. The Senate haven't rejected him. The government, the president should have put an open eye to monitor his activities, not allowing him to do things the way he has done it, to give him such loophole. This kind of high office is tempting. And then they should know that this former Senate president and then are not vindicated because they rejected him and the government accepted him, and look at the mess of himself. So if he's found guilty, let him face the music. That's my submission.
All right. Thank you for calling to make it. Kenneth is on the line. Hello, Kenneth.
Hello.
How are you? Welcome to the show.
Sandra. Good evening, ma.
Good evening, sir.
You see, my sister. There's no, they should leave Magu alone.
Okay.
On my own, because if you want to cut the neck, you cut from, you immediately cut the neck, the head will follow. This our guy, Wodi Baba, you know very well. Unless you don't go school, they tell them, 8 assembly tell them, say this man. If I even call them that time, say what happened, maybe this man gets a crock for body. You know, call them. They were doing on political, this man no good, this man good, this assembly, now political party, you know, be my own party. Even these people where they there now, anything where Baba carry go give them this. To buy. Why would they want to kill the man? Because Baba know what the man go kill the do. Now check and balance. Some people they carry grammar, they spoil everything. They tell us we don't recognize this man. Now those will be only Magu do for Nigeria here. There's the retired police officers. Nigeria have intellectual people. This our Baba liver. He's getting to they say when breeze blow, we see fire. We don't see him now. More is coming. and again, Auntie Sandra, please help me for one thing. Other radio stations that I'm a listener.
Okay.
They have 1 line, 2 line, 3 line. This 993, 993, 993. Only 1 line.
No, it's one. It's one line that has 4 lines. It's a special line that has 4 lines.
So since 12 o'clock, since 2 months, today I will send my wife to go and buy me a abacha.
Please, you should buy for me. I want to eat abacha too.
I will buy. I will buy.
Thanks for calling. All right, bye, Kenneth. We've got Prince YS. Hello, Prince.
How are you, Sandra?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm okay. You see, number one, people are saying the National Assembly reject Magu. That first I have to do away with him, which I disagree. when they brought the matter of Magu to the 8th National Assembly, Saragu was being proved by Magu then. So by not allow Magu to be, it's because Saraki is under approach then. And the problem starts from the presidency. When the president appoints somebody, and somebody who is working for the same president, now wrap the damaging allegation against that fellow to the National Assembly, if I was Mr. President then, I will, even though the DSC that damaging to the National Assembly, should be caution. If they have any allegation against Magu, then it's supposed to be on the table of Mr. President, not to the National Assembly. That's number one. Number two, Magu worked very well because the first ministry of this country that you have the former governor behind the bar, notable name. And when you got the commission they have every year, it's more than this year now. You see how many confusion they have from the court. So for me, if the money recovered now diluted by Magu, yes. If I want to say kudos to Mr. President. If it's another way, if you just look at that side, allow Magu to be continuing working. If somebody that is working for somebody and is now under probe, yes, I say kudos to Mr. President. I'm waiting for the final verdict from the panel. If they return no guilty for Magu, it will be given gold award and continue its work.
But you remember that Alamesia was gotten under Ribadu. Alamesia was huge.
Yes, you are right.
He's the first governor in the Fourth Republic behind bars. At least under Magu, we had the one that went and came out. And also, Magu did not probe Saraki. It was a Code of Conduct Tribunal that probed Saraki.
Yes, I know. Mm-hmm. But then, I've forgotten. Wife of Saraki was improved by Efcc then. Wife of Saraki. So, by not approving Magu, by National Assembly, there's no any kudu to Saraki or this or because Saraki himself was corrupt and so that proved then. But now, if Magu now find people now, he should be dealt with accordingly. He is not only just a relief of his post, going away. No, he should be tried because angel will not come from heaven to come and help the organization. It is human being that he head the organization. And again, Sandra, the moment we don't fight this corruption, Nigeria is not moving anywhere. Look, we want to talk about NDC later now, or maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow, 5.
What's going on in Nigeria? People are crying. No development, no good road, no good reputation.
But you remember that with Magu's own, SSS had a report that they gave the Senate. And Senate said, we don't want. Mr. President said it must be him. But this is a conversation that will continue. It's a rolling conversation. So let's leave it at that. Because remember, I said everybody gets 2 minutes. Thank you so much, Prince YS, for calling into the show.
This is Just a Minute on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
I'm going to give you a chance to win 10,000 Naira. 0700 993 993 993. Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon, President Sandra.
Good afternoon to you, sir. Do you want to play Just a Minute?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right then. So, what's your name?
Ma?
What is your name?
My name is Zurakat Mustafa.
Say that again.
Zurakat, Z-U-R, A-K-A-T.
Okay. Zurakat Mustafa.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What does your number end with?
081.
Okay. Don't tell me the full number. Don't tell me the full number. So 081, what does it end with?
35165.
35165. Now, by the time we're done, if you win, don't cut the call. Stay on the line. Okay. Somebody will collect the call and take your number, okay?
Okay, ma.
Don't cut the call. Stay on the line.
All right, ma.
All right, let's play.
This is Just a Minute.
Are you ready?
Yes, ma.
Okay. How many properties does the presidential panel claim Ibrahim Magu cannot account for?
6.
How many thousand confirmed COVID-19 cases do we now have in Nigeria?
33,150 something.
Which two commissioners of health is the NMA thinking about sanctioning?
Pass.
Apart from the NMA, which other organization is accusing these two states of playing? How many out-of-school children do we estimate there are in Nigeria?
Pass.
Which state is insisting that it wants its students to take the WAEC exam?
Pass.
In which state was a couple arrested for abusing their child?
Pass.
Your time is up. Well, congratulations. You got only one answer correctly.
Wow.
Yeah, only one correctly. So that means that you're not our winner today. But I will find out if there was a winner in the morning who scored more. So fingers crossed that you are our winner. I'm going to ask you to please hold on so that Nata is going to collect your details, okay? All right, then. Thank you so much for calling into the show. I'll confirm that nobody played in the morning and won. If nobody did, that means that you are our winner today. But for calling in and for playing and for getting even one question correctly, well done. Lagos, that's where we wrap up today's conversation. I am back on your air tomorrow at 3. Don't forget, we're going to talk to lawyers. So if you know a lawyer, a female, a male, tell them to listen to the show tomorrow. If you also know anybody who's interested in hearing about the scandals rocking the NCDC, tell them to be here as well tomorrow between 3 and 6. I have a great show coming your way. I am online as Ezekwesili. Those are your hard facts, Lagos. Good night.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.